All right, let's unpack a novel that is just the ultimate critique of how we try to find meaning in chaos. We're talking about Umberto Eco's Foucault's Pendulum.
It always gets called the thinking man's Da Vinci Code, which I find a little funny.
Right, because it's not even in the same genre. Eco wrote this in 1988. He was basically satirizing the whole secret history trend before it even hit the mainstream.
He was doing more than predicting it. He was,
Right.
dissecting the psychology of it. A book like the Da Vinci Code just plays the conspiracy straight.
It pretends the secret is real.
Exactly. But Eco's book is a warning. It's all about why we're so desperate to see patterns that just aren't there.
And we should probably clear up the title right away, because that trips people up.
Oh, for sure.
It's Léon Foucault's Pendulum, the physics experiment, not Michel Foucault, the philosopher.
Yeah, although knowing Eco's sense of humor, that confusion was almost certainly a little literary joke. The pendulum in the story is this one single fixed point of truth while the characters just spin out of control.
And the setup is so brilliant because it's so mundane. You have three bored intellectuals in Milan, Casaubon, Belbo, and Diottelevi.
They work at a publishing house, but the real key is the side hustle, this vanity press wing called Minutius.
So they take money from anyone who wants to get a book published, no matter how bad it is.
And that's the engine for the entire story. They're drowning in what they call the diabolicals, these, unhinged manuscripts about the Knights Templar, the occult, Rosicrucians.
Just absolute nonsense. And to stay sane, they decide to invent a game.
The plan.
They take all this random junk from the manuscripts, dates, symbols, weird theories, and they start feeding it into Belbo's computer, Abulafia.
The whole goal is just to see if they can create one massive unified conspiracy theory that connects everything. Templars, telluric currents, everything.
And, well, the computer does it. It connects the dots.
And that's where the book gets dark. It stops being a satire and starts becoming a psychological thriller. The game isn't a game anymore.
They start seeing connections from their fake plan out in the real world. They fall into the exact trap they were making fun of.
And it gets worse. The diabolicals, the actual authors of this stuff, they hear about the plan.
And they think it's real. They think these three editors have actually stumbled onto the ultimate Templar secret. The irony is just, it's lethal.
It leads to that horrible climax at the Musée des Arts et Métiers in Paris. Belbo gets captured by this secret society.
Led by a mystic named Aglier who thinks he's immortal.
And they demand that Belbo tell him the secret, the final piece of the plan.
But he can't.
Of course he can't. There is no secret. He made it all up.
So he's hanged from the Foucault pendulum, choosing to die rather than admit it was all just a joke.
You could almost see it as a martyrdom for non-meaning. He'd rather die and preserve the fake mystery than live and admit his great work was just empty.
It's why Eco's later comment about Dan Brown is so perfect. He said Dan Brown is basically one of the characters from his novel.
The kind of person who would believe the plan without a second thought? Yeah.
But the book goes even deeper with the character Diottelevi. He gets terminal cancer.
And he becomes convinced it's divine retribution. He thinks that by messing with history, by mocking the text, he broke something in the cosmic order, and now his own body is breaking down.
It's the ultimate example of apophenia, right? Seeing connections that aren't there.
Absolutely. Ego even brings up the philosopher Karl Popper, who had this idea about the conspiracy theory of society.
What was that again?
Popper basically said that it comes from abandoning God and then asking who is in his place. Without a divine plan, the randomness is terrifying. So we invent the Illuminati or the Templars.
Because even a sinister plan is more comforting than no plan at all.
Precisely.
Belbo himself said he wanted to blow up history because he didn't feel like he could create real art, so he just remixed reality instead.
And that's the book's warning, really. If you stop caring about what's true and what isn't, you can connect any fact to any other fact. You build this web that looks like truth, but it's really a prison.
Which brings us to today. In an age of algorithms and, information overload, we all have a little Abulafia in our pocket, ready to connect the dots for us.
Critical thinking, that ability to just step back and say, wait, this does not connect to that, is maybe the only real defense we have.
So the next time you fall down some internet rabbit hole and find a pattern that seems to explain everything, maybe ask yourself, did you discover a hidden truth, or are you just inventing a story because you're scared there might not be one?
A question worth asking, for sure.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next one.